Yeah, that's right. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy day after. I don't know what kind of crowd we're going to have today. Everybody's traveling. People still got stuff to do with grandma, all that kind of stuff going on. It's fine. I don't care how many people are with us. I got some stuff I just need to talk through. It's been a while. We had the holiday. There's just some things I want to talk through. So I realize this is kind of weird timing. It's like the day after the holiday, but nobody has to work. Everybody's got family in town, whatever. I don't care. This isn't going to be a full 2-hour show. It's just V1 rotate. I'm getting there. V1 rotate. I'm getting there. Okay. There's just a few things that popped up I want to go over, and I want to wrap up some of the National Signing Day shenanigans and some of that as well. And then we'll get out of here. People can go on their way. I got family in. I got to go see too. But there's some of this I wanted to go over. And let us not forget about the Gator Bowl, by the way. There's some people saying things about the Gator Bowl I don't think they even believe. And I might be one of them. So I want to talk through that dynamic too, because I know I'm full of crap with some of this stuff. So there's a few things that I want to go over. So let's get into the introduction, and we'll get into the roll call. Unique blend today, because the day after the holiday, everybody's routine's messed up. Okay, Dr. John, I owe you a message, by the way. I saw that, Dr. John. Don't think I'm ignoring you. A little behind with some family obligations, but I owe you a message, by the way. So let's do that. And then if anybody wants to call and chime in anything, let's do that. Here's one thing I will say. Put it in the chat. Give me a call. I want to know if anybody got any good Notre Dame football gifts. That's what I want to know. Like, we can have a little fun here. It doesn't all have to be, life or death here. If anybody got any good Notre Dame stuff, let me know. My preference is always the unique stuff that people find or I find, and it's stuff that you don't see when you go to Notre Dame. There's not 900 people with that shirt on or that jersey or that have something in their studio, all that kind of stuff. Ooh, Deborah Thomas, tickets to the Gator Bowl. Deborah Thomas here every single day, and I'm thrilled that you get to go to the ball game. I know a lot of Notre Dame people that are going to be out that way. Jacksonville, right? A lot of Notre Dame people that way. Have fun and represent the Always Irish radio show out there. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So introductions, roll call. We'll get into some of this. So obviously you're here. You may as well go ahead and hit subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. That helps me more than you realize in the algorithm of YouTube. Okay, notifications on. You know why. That way you be alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want me. You can locate me. 312-988-15. Give me a call. Let me know what you heard and seen. Fighting Irish Wire. Just because the season's over doesn't mean we don't write articles. There's stuff out all the time. You want to get your Notre Dame fix? No problem. All right? Okay, let's get to a little bit of roll call here. Drunk Vigo, usually one of the first or second ones here every time. Johnny boy, did you get the BB gun you always wanted? Yeah, I did. For sure. With a little extra ammo. Yeah, perfect. Matt Miller, good to see you. Paul Conley, Merry Christmas and morning to you, John the Great. I don't even pay Paul to say that. I appreciate you. Nick Dean, good to see you here. He got a Red Ryder for Christmas. Freddie Lee, we need this W to ride into next season with momentum for the returning players. You certainly do. You do. A lot of people, 4-loss team versus a 4-loss team. I don't care about this game. Not a big deal. I've heard a lot of that. I've even said a little bit of it. But it isn't a big deal to me in terms of like this year. Freddie, I'm with you. This bowl game wraps up this year, but it's almost already about next year in a lot of ways. It's this awkward in between, in the quarterback change and everything else. It's a very weird dynamic. It's squarely in between. There's nothing to wrap up for this year. You have 4 losses. You wrapped up this year. Basically, week 2, you wrapped up this year as far as national goes. So, I mean, I'm sorry. It's an in-between, and it's very awkward. It is, and we'll get into some of that. Let's see. Freddie, you're on it again. Who do you think or want as our QB1 next season? Well, that's a part of the discussion today. A few days ago, all the rumors about Sam Hartman leaving Wake for Notre Dame. All those rumors came out, all those tweets, all those texts, all of that stuff came out about that being the guy. And then he goes out the next day and plays a bowl game for Wake. I haven't heard a word since. So what's the deal? What's the deal? Somebody who spent their Christmas combing the back message boards, tell me what the word is. Because that's what I was told. And that's what was circulating. And that's what multiple people told me, was that was the guy. And then you watch him play for Wake. And it's just, again, a weird dynamic, but these are new times in college football. So I don't know where that stands. I don't know what the deal is. Is Notre Dame out here tampering, playing the game everybody else is going to play? Or what? The one thing I don't think, I got some phone calls here. We're going to give you your time here. I'm going to get to you guys. There's a few of them. I'll go right to you next. Hang in there. What I was going to say is, with Hartman, I did feel weird that was all the rage in the rumor. And then, oh, by the way, he's going to go play a game for Wake. So I thought that was a little weird. I haven't really heard anything since. I mean, we did have the holidays, so maybe the sources aren't getting their full information flow because of the holiday. I don't know. Here's the deal, though. If you're a Notre Dame person and you're sitting there and you're like, well, I don't know if we want Sam Hartman or not, or I don't know if that's a good enough move or not. His stats this year alone at Wake Forest, if you applied them to Notre Dame, he'd be the all-time leading single-season yardage passer, all-time leading touchdown thrower. Just this year, apply his stats to this year, and that's where it would be. So Notre Dame people are not, I actually think it's better than that. I think he would be like number 1 and number 4 or something all time for touchdowns thrown in a year, and wouldn't even just be number 1, but would also number 4. I just don't, I'm telling you, these Notre Dame people with all these transfers, they see these names and it's like, no, we could do better than that. We could do better than that. We haven't been doing better than that. I mean, I hate to explode 10 minutes the day after Christmas. Who do these Notre Dame people think we are? Who do you think you are? I am. If you know that reference. Who do Notre Dame people think they are? Saying they're too good for most of these quarterback names. It's bizarre to me. Who do we think we are to be picky about a body of work of established high-level quarterback play? Who do we think we are? A lot of these names you might not be thrilled with. They're better than any of the stats we're going to have coming back next year. It's rough. I get it, but it's like, so many of these names people shrug out. And then you look at the numbers, they're way better than anything Drew Pine could ever dream of in 10 lifetimes of accomplishment on a football field. And we're sitting here as a transfer saying some of these guys aren't good enough. Look at our own situation. Like, the situational awareness here is alarming sometimes. I get that we have high standards because we're Notre Dame. But I also have to be realistic about where we've been. A lot of these numbers, a lot of these transfer quarterbacks would dwarf anything you're going to get out of the Notre Dame quarterback room the last few years. So it's a rough dynamic. All right, roll call, phone calls. That's the deal. I got sidetracked. Mark, Merry Christmas, my family. My family. Uh-oh, Brian Kelly making gumbo for the traditional Christmas dinner. The Sunset Kid, hi from Southwest Indiana. I bet you it's cold out that way. Angela Rudiger, I say it all the time. Always good to have a Rudiger on your side. I love it. Texting her last night. Great family. Phil, good to see you, Phil. Good morning, Irish fans. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful Christmas. Indeed. And I want to know, did any of you guys talk about Notre Dame with your families over the holiday? That always happens when we all get together. What was discussed? Did you figure anything out? Did you and your family, you and your dad, your uncles, your brother, your mom, whoever, talk about who you want the next quarterback to be next year, what the plan is? Nick Dean. Good to see you, Nick. Good morning and Fighting Irish. Let's go. We got a game to win this week, folks. We're back into game mode. Connor, I got you. I see you on the line. I'll get to you. I think you're going to the game. Are you not? Maybe we'll discuss that. I think you live down there going to the game, unless I'm out of my mind. I think that's you. Coming up on the line. You could tell me about it. Phil, you just hit on what I was hitting on. What's with these rumors? It was all the rage the day before his bowl game, and it all happened. It's weird. Here's what's weird. When this stuff happens and I find out about it, it's all like in a 15-minute window with 10 DMs on Twitter, a handful of emails, and then I start getting the texts. And then you see it on Twitter. Like, it's just weird to me. When something happens, the way I gauge its veracity is often who I get the information from and then how it comes in. And when I get 3 different people that I get reliable info from, and they all tell me the same thing within a 15-minute window, it kind of tells me something's going on. Then he had the bowl game for his real team, and then we had the holiday. I have no idea. I haven't been on. I'm not surfing no backboard. I got a screenshot of this guy who says this. I'm not playing that game. Somebody tell me if you've seen it, but I don't have the time or patience to play that game. I don't. Oh, wait a second. Sunset. I got a signed Jerome Bettis ND jersey for Christmas. You're the leader in the clubhouse right now. Leader in the clubhouse. V1, you're asking the question everybody wanted to know. And if you weren't here already, I went over it. If that guy's stats were inputted into number 1, Notre Dame, he inputted at Notre Dame, I mean, he's basically number 1 in all your single season stat stuff that matters to you. Yardage, touchdowns thrown. I don't know. I'm just telling you. Maybe that says a lot about what he was able to do at Wake, and maybe it also says something about what Notre Dame hasn't been able to do at this position. Oh, boy. Here we go. Somebody had a dream about the game. We're almost caught up on the chats. We'll give the phone calls next. I had a dream about this game. We were tied up 9 apiece, and Buckner fumbled the ball on a QB run. Tyree then kicked the ball away. The whole time a kid in the lower stands was screaming flag. Jaded. I almost wish you wouldn't have put this in the chat. It's oddly specific in a way that's making me very uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable. I don't like this, Jaded. I don't like this at all. I don't. Dr. John, happy Boxing Day, everybody. With 2 Canadians joining us next year, we'll need to celebrate their holiday. I'm all for those good times. Sunset Kid at work and still with the Always Irish Show. I love it. Tell your boss. They're going to say, hey, Sunset Kid, I need you to do this and this and this. And then you say, boss, hold on a second. John's yelling about Notre Dame's quarterback play. It's going to have to wait, sir. That's what you tell your boss, Sunset. You're going right to the top of the corporate ladder. I'm telling you, you are. You tell them that straight to the top. Here we go. V1, my parents are going to the Gator Ball First Notre Dame game since they went to college there. That's fantastic. Some of these bowl games, they allow you to do that. You could get down there, something different. Phil. Peyton Bones, one of the most classless, immature recruits I've seen in a while. On my list of things to get to today, extremely disorganized. That whole signing day thing was a misstep, and he knows it, and the family knows it. This was mishandled, mismanaged. Everything about it was done wrong, and it was a bad look. He did apologize for the hat flip thing and all that. I went off on that, and you all know it. You know it. And it's like Jersey Bear says, stop calling high school kids classless. I'm sure in response to Phil's message here. Here's what I've always said, and I mean this. Phone calls next, as soon as I get through a couple more of these. I mean it. I'm not lying. I don't care if a guy gets up there and doesn't pick Notre Dame. I mean, I care, but I'll get over it. They could go wherever they want for good reason, like moral good reasons that everybody would accept. Somebody could pick somewhere else for a bag of money. It doesn't matter. If you get up there, oh, blah, 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 thanks everybody for recruiting me. I'm going to Oregon. Phil Knight has a fat check. That's what you want to do. I have no issues with that whatsoever. I'm not going to attack a high school kid for that in any way. However, once you start disrespecting Notre Dame, then you're done. You don't get to, I don't care how old you are. Once you disrespect Notre Dame publicly, it changes the dynamic and it changes the scenario. Disrespect is never okay. Oh, John, weren't you an 18-year-old who made dumb decisions? Yes, I was. One of those dumb decisions was not clowning, trolling, and mocking Notre Dame that's recruited me hard for multiple years, treated me like a king, catered to me, and apparently had everything the guy wanted. Marcus did a great job, and then he gets clowned and trolled on live TV when he's already committed there? Nope. You don't get to do that. Nope. That I would not do at 18. Immature. I would know enough how classless it is. It is. It's classless. I don't care. You're 17, 18. You should be mature enough to know that when you fake the hat thing to a team you've been committed to for a year, if you're not smart enough at 17 or 18 to know that's disrespectful and is going to look very bad on you and your family, I can't help you. You should be smart enough to know that. I don't care who you are, 17, 18, it's old enough to know about what is respectful and disrespectful. You can pick anywhere you want to pick. I won't rip a kid that just straight up picks another team. But when you disrespect Notre Dame nationally and publicly on television, you're not getting away with it. You don't get to want to go do NIL and make millions of dollars as a teenager, but then be mad at me for questioning some of what you're doing as a teenager. You don't get to have it both ways. You don't. So if we're playing this game that these guys can get millions of dollars right away, I'm not acting like they're a little 14-year-old on their learner's permit. They don't get to play it both ways. When you're in this game and you're messing with big money, it changes the game. You don't get to claim the kids' stuff on one end and then millions of dollars on the other. Get millions of dollars isn't kids' stuff. I'm not letting these guys play both sides of it. If he had all the hats there, picked Oregon, fine. That's not what happened. What happened was disrespectful, and I'm not allowing it. Absolutely disrespectful. And that's just the way it is. Sorry. Deb will be at the game as a Christmas present. That's beautiful. You guys can have good weather. What's the weather like? Notre Dame socks. That's always exciting. I got some of those too. Poncho and binoculars. Is it going to rain? All these Notre Dame people looking to get out of the weather and it's going to rain. Oh, man. Here we go. Notre Dame football tree ornaments, name at number 9 on it, and ND9 is the name on here. Beautiful. Rob, I think Hartman coming ND would be a great belated Christmas gift. I mean, as Notre Dame people, who are you to question this guy? Like, I can't. A lot of these guys' resumes, the Notre Dame people are like, not Sam Hartman, but some of the other ones that are not at his level. And it's like, oh, we could do better than that. Well, we haven't. That's the thing. Well, we could do better than that, but we haven't. So can we? Because we haven't been. Stuff drives me crazy. Christmas or not, this is all going to stress me out. Coach got me and my 2 sisters matching ND shirts and the grandkids matching ones too. Hopefully the right sizes. And 90 autograph Rudy DVDs. That's what you all get from your uncle. 90 of them. Here you go. Here's another one. Give them out. Oh, man. Oh. What else do we have here? Spencer Sanders, card. People are asking. I don't know. But I just think it's wild that all those people were on that Hartman stuff. What happened to it? Did it go away already? Or are we just chilling because it's this little holiday period? I don't know. El Nino Brown, good to see you here. The format. Bruce, I see ya. Happy holidays, team. I like Bart Scott when it comes to this Friday. Can't wait. Looking forward to hopefully being in a winning post-game presser with Coach Freeman. Bruce, he does media down in Jacksonville, football media. He's a Notre Dame guy. He's going to be there reporting on the game, and he's a great guy and a good friend. Great family, by the way. Really, the nicest people in the world. Need more people like him, to be honest. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Michael says, didn't you know John Reese is the QB whisperer? Well, he certainly couldn't whisper to himself. So, like, if I know you're kidding, but if we're going to go there, it's like Reese is the QB whisperer. Well, he couldn't whisper to himself to not stand like a statue and throw 90 interceptions. So he should have whispered to himself to not be that average and mediocre at quarterback. I mean, I'm half kidding, but not really at the same time. But yeah, this QB whisper stuff, I keep hearing, oh, Tommy just needs better talent. You're going to see it all take off. I'm waiting. My hair's falling out. The year's in the hourglass. The sand's coming out. Let's go. Oh, Drew Pine went to ASU, a D1 school. Congratulations. Awesome. Good for him. I hope he's the starter. I don't know what else they got going on. I hope he's the starter. Good for him. I wish him all the luck in the world. And at the same time, Notre Dame needs better quarterback play. Both could be true at the same time. Hope the kid lights it up at Arizona State. It was time for Notre Dame to move on. Both could be true. I'm thankful for all of Drew Pine's effort. He is not Notre Dame quarterback #1 material. That is not offensive. That is not rude. That's not an opinion. It's just a fact, and we all know it. We all know it. We know it. Oh, let's see. Mark, in the 90s, I got a starter coat with the leprechaun on the back. Dude, so did I. I'm talking about the ones with I think it was like one Velcro pocket, and you could put both your hands in. If I remember, me and my brother both had one. In grade school, Notre Dame was a big one for us. The Cowboys was a big one around our area. The 49ers were a big one. And I'm in the Chicago area, but we had Notre Dame. The Bears one wasn't even that popular. But I remember those 49er and the Cowboy ones in the early 90s, and they were both good. It made sense. Made sense. Nick, my wife got me a vintage 80s jacket just like yours. I like it and I don't like it. I like going to Notre Dame and being one of the only I used to be the only guy with that jacket when I go to games, and now I see 2 to 3 people with it every time, and I try and go take pictures with them and go, you have good taste in jacket wear, my friend. Yeah, I've seen a few more of them recently. Oh, man. Sunset Kid. I don't mean to get you in trouble at work. I'd love Sam Hartman, but it doesn't seem realistic. That's the thing. That's what I'm asking. Why did all these people tell me this was a real thing then a few days ago? And then we get into the holiday. And I mean, I know people are not tied to their computer doing work, but this was all the rage the day before Wake Forest bowl game. And then now, and I haven't heard a peep since. So I'm just wondering. But all the people I get a lot of my information from, and I check, trust me, I have a ledger. I know if somebody texts me something, the odds of it being accurate or not, depending on who they are, based over the history of the information they give me. Multiple people that have insight on this stuff all led me in this direction about Hartman. So I don't know, but I didn't get any other information after that. I didn't. Mark, they're all over eBay now. Don't tell people. I love that. I want to wear mine and have people go, man, where'd you get that? I can't find that. Angela, 100% correct. 100% correct. And Angela's the only person in this chat that knew me at that age. John was immature at that age, but not disrespectful. That is 100% accurate. Yep. And those are different things, by the way. Those are different things. You could be immature and respectful, but just immature in certain ways that don't show disrespect. And so Angela's exactly right. And I'm mature enough to admit that I was immature. Might even be now, depending on who you ask. Depending on who you ask. Yeah, very well put, Angela. Bean, John, would you please show a little emotion today for Pete's sake? I'll try that. I don't know why. I'm just a little energetic today. Just a little energetic today. Oh, all right. We're going to get to these phone calls. People apparently have stuff. Look at this. We're over here. Merry Christmas. Nick's over here. Fire Tommy Reese now. Get him out of here. Happy Christmas. Hop on Santa's sleigh and go to the NFL. Nick, come on, Nick. How about Tony Rice? Yeah, I'm going to tell you this right now. If Tony Rice was in the portal, I'd take him now. That dude's in fantastic shape. Saw him at a game, I don't think this year. I think it was last year. He's in terrific shape and the nicest guy in the world. He's a sweetheart. Tony's a sweetheart. Oh, man. Chris, he gets royalties, but I'm not sure how that works. I'm assuming that's something that we all know what it is. I'm assuming. Nick, I'm just giving you a hard time, man. I think that's fantastic. They're so comfortable too, man. They're like a warm blanket. They keep your body heat in. I love that jacket. When I was in middle school in Maryland, starter jackets were hot. It was the Raiders and the U. Oh, man, the U. That is an ugly looking starter's jacket. Ugly. Oh, I can't even picture it. With that dumb duck that looks like it has. That duck looks like it has some sort of genetic disorder or something. It's just bad, man. It's bad. All right. We're not going to be able to have a full show, so I'm going to have to move quicker on the calls than some of you are used to. So we're going to get your point, and we're going to give people some time. 818-386-208, 208-646-707, 818. You're on the line. Happy Christmas, my friend.
You're a mean one, Mr. Bowen. Your damn ego keeps on growing. Oh, man, John, Merry Christmas, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I like your, every time you call now, you trying to add in a little flair. I like that kind of effort. I do. Let's back up a little bit, though. I haven't talked to you in a little bit. What do you think about how Notre Dame's recruiting class ended up? By most services, they're ranked between 5th and 9th. Depends where you look. A lot of people, if you're like me, I am both. I think it's a very, very good class. The talent level's rising. The blue chip rate is rising. There's no doubt about that. And I'm also extremely bitterly disappointed with what happened at the top end of the class. I think that position's fair. What do you think?
Yes, This is what I think, John. This is the third year in a row we finished in the top 10. We were number 9 2 years ago. We were number 7. Well, again, depending on whose site you looked at. But we basically finished in the top 10 2 years ago. Finished between 6th and 7th last year, and between 5th and 9th this year. That's as good as a recruiting 3-year stretch we've had, I think, since Holt.
Yeah, it's
so.
Yeah, let me give you this. Yeah. Let me give you this to help, because I've heard a lot of people say this. John, without those gems at the top end, Dante Moore, Keely Bowen, this is essentially a Brian Kelly class. I have heard that allegation a lot. The blue chip rate suggests otherwise. It's 83% blue chip rate this year. That's the percentage of your class 4 or 5 stars. You're going back to Kelly a few years ago. 20 was 53, 52 and 18, in the 40s in 17, 40s in 16. Kelly was all over the board, never higher than this rate. And I don't see that changing under Freeman. So I think that's important to mention. That talent rate is rising.
I totally agree, John. And here's the other thing, because what they've done is they've raised the floor. You're not seeing nearly the number of 3 stars that you used to see before. I'm not putting down guys for a 3-star. It's not my point.
I get it. Yeah, I know.
You get what I'm saying. That floor has been raised, John. John, here's the other thing. I actually think this class is higher than it's ranked. And I'm going to tell you, not only because I think some of those people that rated us 5th, I think we're probably, I truly believe from what I've looked and what I've listened to, that we're probably closer to 5th than we are to 9th. But here's the bigger reason. Having a top 10 class at Notre Dame and places, and I'm going to say this too. I'm going to give Michigan a little bit of credit. I don't know where they finished. Okay, I don't know. But I'm telling you, I told this a few weeks ago, culture is going to become so much more important now than even it was before. Because these teams that are maybe above us in recruiting, watch for a lot of those players to be moving around. I don't think Notre Dame's going to lose a lot of players in this class. And I think teams like Michigan, you're going to start seeing like teams where culture matters. It's going to become, you're going to start seeing a lot of these teams near the top, I think, in college football over the next several years because of all the movement at the top. I mean, look at Texas A&M. Great point. The best recruiting class ever in the history of mankind last year.
Yep.
And look at what an abysmal. I don't know. By the way, do we know how many of those guys are sticking around and how many of them are leaving?
You know what I think happened there? I think some of those promises didn't quite come through, if you're following me.
Of course.
And I think some of those promises didn't come through, and that starts to turn ugly real quick. And I think you had some of that going on. And you're going to see more of that going on unless everything in NIL gets tightened up. You bring up a good point about that culture, and it's something I've thought about as well. When you have a revolving door and have your teams coming and going, how do you maintain that thread of what you value and your culture? Notre Dame's never going to get to that point because they're not going to have enough of this movement to make that happen. But why can't we do both, man? Why can't I just give me 1 or 2 of these elite 5-star guys? Give me one on each side of the ball, and we still have our culture. Like, it's just so frustrating to know these top guys were really interested and loved Notre Dame, and we didn't get them. Like, they were sold at some point. If you're committed to Notre Dame, you liked it enough to want to go there at some point. Losing guys that did want to go kills me, man.
Well, certainly in the case of Keon Keeley, I think that I'll say that. I mean, that guy's a monster. He's going to be great, most likely wherever he goes. I'm not sold on Peyton Bowen or even on Dante Moore. I mean, what I mean by that is just from a head standpoint, from a mental standpoint. Doesn't mean they won't get there. I'm not going to, I don't know anything about these kids, man, but my God, it just seems like they're not having the greatest people in their circle. Then I know. Then when we say that, then we come back to the fact that I don't know their financial situation either, man. That's a tough one for me because if they're in a poor.
Okay. All right. Fine. But don't string Notre Dame along. Like, if that's your dynamic and you literally need money to send back to mom so your family can have a house, I totally respect that. And I'm glad you have an opportunity to be able to do that earlier in your life. but leave Notre Dame out of it then. Don't be my problem at all.
Right.
Don't be in my purview at all. If that's your life situation, I respect it, but don't make it our problem. Like, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at.
He never did actually commit to Notre Dame, so I guess I'll give him a little more credit for that.
Yeah.
Peyton Bowen did exactly what I told you I was afraid he was going to do. Waits until signing day. Signs apparently with Oregon, but didn't sign with Oregon, and then signs with Oklahoma the next day. To me, that's just a head case. I don't know. I'm sorry, man.
It's frustrating though.
A couple years, maybe we'll get his stuff together.
But you know what? Listen, I at least credit Keeley for knowing something was going on and publicly decommitting to give Notre Dame time to pivot and move on to another target and whatever. Like, I respect that more because at least you didn't clown us on signing day.
Well, and also Dante Moore, he never actually committed.
Yeah.
So I'll give him credit for that.
No, yeah, that one's in a different category than Keeley and Bowen because there was no public commitment. I say public. There was no public commitment there. So it's
what Peyton Bowen did, though, John. That's egregious. It really is. I don't care how you look at it. And
I know.
I'm blaming a lot of people in the circle too. I mean, because just seeing a look at his mom's face, she must have been sideswiped by that whole thing. That's just a weird situation.
It felt to me like mom thought it was Notre Dame. I honestly felt like mom thought it was Notre Dame. She looked so uncomfortable. Mom was miserable. She was so uncomfortable. It was obvious. The vibe was off. They were not organized. It was really, really rough. And whatever, man. So the talent level's rising, but I'm still very frustrated that those top end guys that can play right away we're not able to get. And so maybe here's where we need to bring this next is, do you see Freeman polishing up his recruiting process, shoring up some holes that make us vulnerable to this kind of thing moving forward? Like, a part of me is open to the fact that he's going to figure some of this out, how not to put us in a NIL hostage situation.
Well, absolutely. I mean, again, going back to what you were saying, John, we know one thing about, I think Freeman's learning, a lot of this is still faith. And, let's be honest, a lot of this is still faith, but I saw things this year that showed me that he can learn quickly. Okay.
Yeah. And
that's my biggest thing is can Freeman learn this quickly? And I think he can. He seems like a really smart guy. He obviously cares. He's got a natural football coach acumen talent. We know he's going to be great at getting the defensive player. And now look, Tommy Rees, hats off to him. Say what you want about him. And the biggest knock on Tommy Rees, really even more than his offensive coordinator talent, was really his ability to recruit. And Tommy Rees did it this year, man. He brought in a really, really top-flight offensive class, I think. You look at the running backs, the Jeremiah Loves and the four receivers they got, in my opinion, as good as a receiving core as they've had in I don't know, a decade, in terms of those four people in the same class. To keep adding to the offensive line, I don't think anybody's worried about that with Coach Easton. I'm really happy with recruiting, Sean. I think had we not heard, if he hadn't been, fed Keon Keeley all year long and Peyton Bowen all year long, that if we just wake up on signing day and we hear that this is how we finish, we'd all be pretty damn happy.
Yeah.
We'd all be really happy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So and John, a few years ago, I changed my philosophy when it came to recruiting, man. When I was right about the time I hit your age, it's right around the time, I think we're about a decade apart, that I kind of started not, it was Brian Kelly that did it to me, but I started not following recruiting daily anymore. I'm like, you know what?
No, it'll kill you, man. No, I'm with you. It'll wear you out.
Signing day and I'll see who we got.
Yeah, it'll wear you out. I used to be that guy 10 years ago before all these recruiting services. There was one. And I was the guy sitting there hitting refresh to see if Eddie Vanderdoes picked Notre Dame. I used to be that guy when I was 23 and had no real life things to worry about other than this. And it's wild now. And the business it's turned into and all the games and all of it. It's a wild scene. I couldn't follow it every single day. I'd lose my mind. Rodney, I want to get some other folks on the.
Did you see how Uriango away? He's going to the Beavers.
Yeah, I did. I did see that. I want to be able to let you have your thoughts on the bowl game. And I want to ask this. I've seen a lot of, Notre Dame has 4 losses, team we're playing has 4 losses, whatever. This game's kind of whatever. I don't care. I've seen a lot of that. I don't care. People are saying that, and then Notre Dame's going to lose another bowl game, and then everybody's going to care. And you and I both know my post-game show is going to be people calling me mad that Notre Dame never wins a bowl game. So which is it? Do we really not care? Because I care. It's just not for reasons that evolved this year. I care, and I care a lot, but it isn't about finishing this year.
90% of the Notre Dame fan base doesn't care until the kickoff happens.
Yeah, right?
And then we're all going to be glued to the TV. You know that's what's going to happen. And we're all going to be mad and throwing things, or not, if we play really well. The only thing that bothers me is we're not going for our 10th win. I'm telling you, John, if we're going for our 10th win, it's just something about that double-digit figure. I would really look at this season as a success if we get there, and I'd really be kind of pumped for this game. I still am looking forward to the game, but I'm looking forward to it now for different reasons.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see, okay, how far has Buckner come on the sidelines, not playing?
Yep.
You know what? Again, we talked about that. Sometimes a player will pop when he's had some time to kind of just stay away. We'll see if that happens. We're going to see a new it's going to be interesting to see without Foskey on the defensive line, without Mayer at tight end. Well, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a very interesting look into what we're going to see. It's almost like spring game 1A. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is a little weird. And both teams are without some of their better players. Like, it is going to be weird, but it's like people, I don't really care. Listen, I'm sick of Notre Dame adding losses on the bowl ledger. Like, we need to start balancing things out. I don't care whether it's Kelly's Camping World Bowl or what. I'm sick of losing them. I'm just sick of losing them. Like, can we take a look at what we have next year in a win too? Like, I don't think it's too much to ask. So Rodney,
we haven't won a Gator Bowl in a couple either. I think we've lost 2 Gator Bowls in a row. We've gone back 20 years. So, I mean, that's another, one that we have to get off, chip off our shoulder.
Yeah, it's rough out there, man. So anyways, I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting week. There's a lot to come, and I still want to see more about this quarterback dynamic and find out more about that Hartman story behind the scenes, find out what's going on there. Any Notre Dame Christmas gifts given or received for you guys? What'd you guys do?
Well, John, how do I sound today?
Were you up drinking last night or what?
No. I just mean, how do I sound? How's my clarity?
It's okay, but it's not the best it's ever been, but it's okay. It's not the worst it's ever been.
I was bought new headphones. Specifically, I said, call into this show. My brother's like, okay, my brother's a technophile. So now I know what the problem is. So the headphones are good. I just need a new phone. So I've gone through all the trial and errors to see if I can improve what I already have. I believe what I have, what I'm talking with, is a very good, they're very good headphones and microphone. I just need a new phone. So that was my Christmas present this year. I got nothing Notre Dame related.
That is Notre Dame related. Calling in the Always Irish line on clear that's as Notre Dame related as it gets. Oh, all right, man. You have a good one. I'm going to let some other people hop on before I got to run.
Absolutely. Happy holidays, John. I forgot to text yesterday. I was so out of it. After I got to about halfway through the day, I was going to text you. But anyway, hope you had a great Christmas, man, and Happy New Year to Notre Dame Nation.
You too, man. We'll talk before the bowl game. Give me a call back in a few days. Let me know your thoughts. Have a good one, man. Take care.
You got it, buddy. Bye.
Oh, what in the world? Somebody put something on here. Connor, I'm coming to you next. Bruce, hang in there. Somebody wrote, who was it? Oh, God. Somebody wrote, there it is. Sam Hartman looks just like the quarterbacks we got now. But he has evidence. So he doesn't look anything like what we have now. What we have now, you have no idea what you're going to get. This guy has a body of work. That's the entire discussion. That's the entire discussion is about that Notre Dame cannot afford to go into next year with a bunch of quarterbacks and you have no idea if any of them are any good or what their competency level is. That's what you think is a good dynamic? So maybe if looks, you mean just physical stature. But when you say looks, I'm looking at physical stature. And by looks, I'm also looking at the numbers. And the numbers suggest that it isn't even opinion. This guy would be number one all time of everything in one season in Notre Dame with the Wake numbers this year. So, I don't know what else you want. I know what I want. Notre Dame to recruit a 5-star guy and then develop him into a top NFL pick. That's what I want. That's what big boy programs do. That's what I really want. Recruit and develop both. I said recruit and develop. Yeah, let's get that out for Brian Kelly. Recruit and develop. Both things are important. You can't just do one and not the other or half-ass both. Recruit a high-level guy and then develop him, and then he gets even more high-level. That's how this goes when you know what you're doing. Drunk says, let's get angry. Well, I just did. Yeah. Snead, Collie, give me that. This bowl game, give me that. I think it's like, John, you want to go with the young guys, and then we're going to lose this bowl game, blah, blah, blah. I think you could play a lot of these young guys and win the ball game and accomplish all of your goals. Forgive me that I'm not sitting here going, man, these guys that lost us 4 games really deserve to be out there getting all the snaps in this bowl game. Got to reward that effort. Hell no. What are you talking about? You're telling me I have to show deference to people that allowed us to lose to Marshall and Stanford at home, and then in the last game, I'm supposed to bow down and give them all the snaps? I don't freaking think so. There are consequences to things in football. One of them is you lose 4 games, some younger guys are playing a linebacker. Tell me that's not fair. Marshall, Stanford, really? USC, you handed that guy the Heisman Trophy at your expense on national TV. And now a few weeks later, I'm supposed to go, oh, those have been our guys all year. Better bow down and let them run out there at linebacker, run into a wall, never get home, never do nothing. I don't think so. Nope. Nobody involved in a 4-loss operation is entitled to anything. 4 losses? That feels like 40. 4? No, you don't get to lose to Stanford and Marshall at home and then tell me back off. These are our guys that got it. What? What are you going to say? These are the guys that got us here? Oh, yeah, in a bowl game with 4 losses. Thanks. I don't think so. Snead, Collie, get him out there. Let's go. Get him out there. Get him out there. What else am I supposed to do? Look at Maris' cool hair as he gets blocked into a wall every single time he tries to do anything? Oh, I love the hair. I just don't like what comes with it. AKA never once ever getting home ever. And I'm supposed to sit there and watch that in this bowl game? Because why? Give me Snead and Collie. This is about the future. I think you can win this game with your younger guys. Then you're not sacrificing anything. You're gaining everything. How about that for a plan? Show deference to it. These guys lost 4 games, and I'm supposed to sit there like, oh, my God, what kind of play are we going to get if we play a backup? I don't know. You might lose game number 5. Big deal. But give some guys some meaningful experience and reps for next year when the season isn't already screwed like it is now. Sorry. I don't know what's going on today. I don't know. Something's gotten into me. Somebody, I didn't even see that Maris thing, and I went off on Maris, and then somebody put that in there too. Man. Telling you, Freeman, I don't think anybody's calling for Freeman's head in 4 years, maybe 4 years, a 6-year deal, maybe year 4. There's some heat if things don't get turned around. But I think there's going to be a lot of talent. I do. Oh, El Nino Brown. John always expresses exactly how I feel about Notre Dame football way too often. Call your psychiatrist. I don't wish that on anybody. Seriously, call your doctor if you're thinking like I do. Is Hartman even in the portal yet? No, that's why this is very interesting to me. Not like that's why this is so registering to me. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, tell me about it, Trucker Joe. Notre Dame has a problem valuing experience over talent for 30 years. I always hear that. What about it? What about experience? What about experience? And what about experience? Like, if you keep playing multiple years and the best thing we have is your experience, then you're not that great. Like, experience doesn't mean you're getting better. Experience could just mean you're average, and you're average this year, and you're average the next year, and then you're average the year after that. That just makes you experienced and average. Experience doesn't mean you're getting better unless you make it mean that. Right? Does that make sense? Or am I losing it? Don't answer that. Could be right. Could be right. Lou lost 10 games in the first year. Y'all need to chill out. Lou could recruit it was a very different world back then. There was like 8 teams that got all the talent. It was a lot different. Lou Holtz could come into my Chicago Southside Catholic League and say, I want you, and I want you, and you're a good fullback, and this is going to be my offensive line. We're going to go get this guy. Just out of the Chicago Southside Catholic League where I went to school, Lou was able to do that with almost no competition. I can't act like we're in a similar dynamic at all. It's very, very different. Very different. But it is worth noting, Lou got his championship year 3. So Freeman's going on year 2. By year 3, a lot of that roster's flipped. There's going to be a ton of talent. That's an interesting window to look at. And that is a window I expect things to get very interesting for Notre Dame moving forward. I do. Back to the calls. Connor, 386. You're in the mix. Happy Christmas.
What's going on, John? How you doing today? Merry Christmas to you, your family.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that, man. We're one big Irish family here. Weird in between, Connor. It's a weird in between period with this bowl game. And like, I feel like I want to look at it more as framing what's coming next rather than tying a bow on what's already been that wasn't great. That makes me feel better in my mind. How are you looking at this week?
Well, personally, I think every football game is important. So a win carries a lot more weight, obviously, heading into the offseason too. That's where I stand. Personally, like you were spot on talking about bringing the young guys in. We saw glimpses of these kids being able to show, the capability to be on the field. So, we got to get them on the field. And
listen, don't you agree?
A win carries so much weight.
Don't you agree? It isn't all or nothing, where if you play some of these younger guys more than you did, say, against USC, that isn't a guarantee you're sacrificing the game and you're going to lose. Like, I think there's a way to thread the needle to get some guys some more meaningful series that do help for the future without just laying over and playing dead in this game. And so I find that argument, I think there's a lot of wiggle room in that argument, but I get that a lot. And I just think it's not all one way or all the other.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Because looking back to when Freeman was hired and, those first couple of practices that the team had together, we remember hearing them say themselves that, things were changed and the young guys were getting the opportunities and the reps to prove themselves. And, going into the season, it just looked like they took the, seniority, over the young talent, which, is like we've seen, it's a hit or miss. We see, like he's talked about, Maris, JD had on and off games, and then we see like the Boston College game, a minute left in the game, and then snowball. Jalen Sneed's out there making 2 plays in a row, just freaking hunting down to the ball. So let's see it. It's a bowl game. Get those young guys in there and those opportunities. They can do it in a bowl game. Again, you're giving the young talent reps. You give them reps. If they win the game, how's their confidence going into the offseason then? Think about that.
Yep. Yep. And if they lose the game, well, whatever. We lost 4 playing all the frontline guys they wanted to play anyway. So it's like, I just want to see an effort to acknowledge that it's important to let these young guys show what they could do in a meaningful, competitive moment. And I'm a half sarcastic and I'm half not when I say, I am not deferring to your experience when that is a part of why we lost 4 games and 2 of them in humiliating fashion. I'm sorry. I can't. You didn't protect your snaps when that's the dynamic. And I know that's generalized, but I know that's generalized. People are going to be like, well, John, this one guy isn't why we lost 4 games. But I'm just saying in general, on a team that lost 4 times, nobody's reps should be safe. You lost 4 times.
No. Exactly.
But what do I know? What do I know, right?
It's, man, I remember at the beginning of the season when we were talking about Tommy and freaking Harry. And what do we know? They starting to get their stuff together. The O-line more than the entire offense, you could say. But, we did see change. And that's what, the first caller said. Throughout the season, we saw change happen. We didn't have to wait till the off season for everything to, start all over. We actually were able to see it happening during the season, which was a good thing to see.
Yeah. And you know what else I get? Man. You know what else gets lost in all this discussion, man? And this is wild. And it seems so long ago, but it wasn't. But sometimes I think we forget we were playing with the backup pretty much all year. And but it's hard to lose that because you just get into what it is, and it is what it is. But it's been very hard for me to step back and say, what would the record be if Buckner was healthy all year? Everything else is the same, obviously, the schedule and whatever. But just if that one guy stayed healthy, what are we looking at? But that's not what we got, so I can't go off that. So there's this calculation, but I don't want to make that as an excuse because it sounds weak when you just say that, but it's also true. So it's an excuse, but it's also true. Do you get what I'm saying? I hate being put in this damn spot.
I totally see what you're saying, and that's the thing. You've mentioned it multiple times. It's stacking the quarterback room. When you see other teams like Alabama, oh wow, Bryce Young went down. Who's the replacement? It's another 5-star guy that's technically he's the backup, but he's a guy that's going to come out and probably just win the rest of the season. You stack the quarterback room. God forbid an injury happens, the next guy in is another guy that is elite and can take you to win more games. That's how it's done.
Yeah.
Because injuries happen. You don't want them to happen, and it comes back to development too. We got to see development. This is a big game for it.
And I'm telling you, man,
and to develop heading into the off season.
I couldn't imagine as a fan. I'm beyond frustrated with Buckner's lack of development, linear development.
Yes.
And if I can't imagine how frustrated him and his family are because his timeline of normal football development is about 3.5 to 4 literal years behind what it should be. because of all these random things. COVID, an injury in high school, sitting behind Cone, fighting with the stairs on the Blue and Gold week. And then Marshall, every single time you start to think, we might see what Buckner could do. Bam, something else happens, Notre Dame.
You're spot on. Dude, you got injured. You've been through injuries. You just became the starting quarterback again. You knew you were going to be after you came back from your injury. Why don't we see that passion? Like in that, I just hate to say it, but the recent interview they posted of him, like, dude, you're lackadaisical. You're the starting quarterback at Notre Dame. Can you show some passion like we are, like talking on the phone right now?
All right, let me answer that. Let me address this. I got an answer. I got a rebuttal to that, actually. This is very healthy. This is cathartic. We work it out. I got a rebuttal to that.
Man, I'm hyped because I'm going to the game. I'm freaking hyped. I want to see this team succeed. I want us to win. Winning matters.
Yep, and especially if you're going there. What a great way to wrap up the year too. It's in your area. You don't have to fly all over. It's a big deal. Yeah, man. That's awesome.
We woke up and we got tickets today. So man, I'm stoked.
That's beautiful. With Buckner, the stoicism and all that. I met him after the Blue and Gold game. He was in a brace, obviously, but it was after the game. And I'd never met him before. Just my initial vibe is California, cool, laid back. Like, this is a guy where I feel like there could be like a 10-car pileup right next to him and his blood pressure wouldn't move. Okay. And I'm just telling you, I'm telling you my vibe. I think I'm pretty good at reading people's body language. When I first meet him, you get a vibe, and I'm very outgoing. Yeah. I'm outgoing myself. And it came off to me like just nothing's going to raise his blood pressure, not high or low. He's going to be the same no matter what. And as a guy who rides hot and cold, that is the polar opposite of the way I live, because I ride the hot and cold, and you know that. It almost gave me a comfort in a way to know he's not like me, and that I'm going to get more stable than me riding the ups and downs. So in his defense, personality-wise, he's laid back, California cool. You ain't going to get much excitability out of him.
Okay, yeah. So I guess it comes down to just seeing, that little bit more of the swagger, that Caleb Williams, I guess you could say showed, which, I'm not the biggest fan. He's a good football player, but don't really respect him too much as a person personally. But, that's what we need to see from not only, Buckner, but the entire team. We gotta just be a little bit more swaggy. We got to be a little bit more confident. We know our team is good. We got to just unleash the dogs, man. I don't care if they're young, true freshmen. Unleash the dogs. Yeah.
You know what's funny about that swag you mentioned? Like, swag's a pretty general term and a pop culture term and a social media thing.
Yeah.
It's weird to me. When Notre Dame does have swag, it's noticeable because it's not like their starting point, if that makes sense. But every once in a while, they'll show up for a game and you'll go, oh, wow, look at that. There's a little energy there. There's a little bounce in the guy's step. Like Clemson was an example where it was obvious. Yeah. But I'm like, where is this all the other times? Where was your swag against Marshall? But it's not a switch. It can't be a switch you just turn off. Either swag and back it up every week, or don't swag at all.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, man. Exactly. But the Notre Dame, if you're like us, you feel the energies around Notre Dame. You feel and you know when we're in trouble. You know when we have a chance, like you feel it. And Clemson, we had swag. And then you're playing Stanford. It looked like we were scared to play football. I don't get what causes those swings.
There's ups and downs. Yes, I don't understand it either. That's the one thing. That's the one code I've probably not cracked. None of us have cracked it.
Oh, I can't figure it out.
We gotta, we gotta believe and trust in Freeman that he's trying to do that, and that's, again, we can talk about it all day, but you have to recruit and develop, like you just said.
Yep. You got to do both. You got to do both. You can't just do one or the other. You have to be good at both.
No.
You need to recruit
Both.
and develop. What I'm asking for, I don't think is a lot.
Like Tommy to not be freaking Tommy. You can't be so freaking selfish, dude. Accept the help. Let Freeman hire some people that can get a little more.
He tried to. He tried
to.
to.
And freaking, God dang it.
He tried to. Freeman wanted to last year. Tommy told him he didn't need anybody looking over his shoulder, didn't need the help. So I was told that's what happened. Freeman, he wanted an analyst.
You tell Tommy.
Exactly.
You tell Tommy if you don't want the help, then you can freaking leave, and I'll get someone else in here.
Yep. Because it's Freeman's reputation and coaching status on the line. Like, it's all going to go down on his ledger.
Exactly.
But I was told Freeman did want to get a senior analyst that's seen it all to kind of help. Tommy thought he didn't need it. Freeman respected that. Now, I just think you didn't score enough, and so now you're going to have somebody looking over you. And if you don't like it, go somewhere else.
Yes.
I don't care.
Yes.
There's nothing I've seen from Tommy Reese where if he goes somewhere else, I'm going to go, oh my God, that I'm sad. No. So,
and that's
whatever.
That's what I'm saying, man. You can't look at our roster. I mean, I tweeted it out. It goes back to, the quarterback thing. Any quarterback, top 5 out there, is looking at our roster thinking, I could do some damage. Look at our running backs, look at our O-line, and look at the receiver talent we're going to have. It's a simple job. We need someone that can come in, and people are talking about Sam Hartman not being a good fit. He's literally throwing, if you go watch the bowl game, he's literally throwing passes that we want more of. The quick passes, the RPOs, but can also throw the 45, 50-yard deep shot.
Listen, man,
do that.
His stats would be number 1 all-time single Notre Dame season record. So I am not listening to anybody be like, I don't know if I want that guy. Dude, look at what we've had. Like, you look in the mirror.
How could you not?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Even some of the lower names, people are like, oh, I don't like that guy's not that good. And I'm like, but it's still better than what we had. So what exactly is your point here? It's rough, man.
Yeah.
So
you have to break it down to numbers. People have to actually go watch film. They look at a name and just go tweet and talk about the player they've never even watched probably before.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. So what's your plan for the game? Are you guys going to get out there early? Is there a tailgate scene? What are you going to do? How far away are you?
Yeah, man. So we're only an hour away from Jacksonville. So the plan is right now, I think we have a group of 9 people going. I have a few friends that are going with us, my family, and then my brother has a friend that lives in Jacksonville. He's going to be meeting us there too. So we're going to be tailgating. We're going to be partying up before the game for sure.
Beautiful, man. That's fantastic. And I'm excited. I really want you, I know you will, but when you get back, I want you to call in. Tell me how it was. I've never been to a Notre Dame bowl game. I've never been, I just wondering what the vibe is like. So get back to me after that, will you?
Yeah, for sure, man.
And I would also,
no doubt about it. I'll definitely give you a call.
And I want to know the fan split. I'm interested in that too, what that dynamic is. It's in the South, but is there still a decent amount of Notre Dame people? Just keep an eye on the vibe for me.
Okay, yeah. I'm super excited. I've been to 2 bowl games. Well, no, I've been to 3 down here. But the past 2 was the Camping World Bowl against LSU. What a great freaking win that was. And then I took my buddy to the Iowa State game. And, man, it's a great time. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it was the peak of Brian Kelly's bowl winning at Notre Dame, the Camping World Bowl.
Yeah.
All the prestige in the world, baby. Pitch yourself a tent.
Man, I'll never forget that game. Just because I was pretty much deathly ill that morning of. I was not feeling good. It was cold. It was rainy. Not the weather you want to watch a football game in and being sick.
Right.
But I was there, man. I'm a trooper. I'm going to stick it out for for the Domers for sure.
There you go. But report back to me. I want to know.
I think we're supposed to have pretty good weather for the game Friday. I think 76 and partly cloudy and sunny. So
beautiful, man. That's about 86 degrees more than I got right now. So if you're looking at 76, so let me know, my friend. But take advantage of this. Have fun. Be loud. Enjoy it. And it's like you want to win, but a game like this doesn't carry the same pressure as a regular season game because it's like whatever happens, it's all over anyways. And there's minimal consequence, but we have things we're looking at, though. I have things I'm looking for. One of them isn't tying a bow on this year. This year was dead week 2. It isn't about that. It's about what's coming.
Yeah, it's really just about developing your players in this game. Win or loss, you need to get some players that are going to be playing a lot next year and that you want to get on the field next year. So that's what this game comes down to.
Yep.
Just development, let the kids have fun and go out there and try to win.
There you go.
That's what the game of football is about. You try to win. So
that's it.
Let's get it done Friday.
Hey, thanks a lot for the phone call. Safe travels to the game. Enjoy it. And I want to report the week after. Give me a call that next Monday.
I got you, man. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's to you and your family, and always Irish Nation. Cheers, guys. Let's go get this dub.
Let's go get this dub. Have a good one, man. What a nice guy. I got some nice freaking callers. Hold on a second, though. Bruce, I got you. You're next. Irish 574. The schedule next year is not difficult. If they lose 4 next, there's no hope with Freeman. The schedule this year and next year is 100% tougher than any Brian Kelly schedule. Are you serious? Kelly went from the toughest game of the year being at home against Cincinnati, who you couldn't handle, to Freeman playing 3 top 5 teams and then a whole bunch of middle top tier teams. Seriously? Kelly had the luxury of USC being in a dumpster his whole tenure at Notre Dame, which propped everything Kelly did up, especially with Notre Dame people the way USC is so personal to us and it carries more weight. That was one of the most fortunate things for Kelly in his Notre Dame tenure is that it overlapped with that era that USC was nothing. That helped Kelly propel everything. The fact that he didn't have to worry about them. So this guy goes from the toughest game on the schedule, literally being Cincinnati at home that he couldn't handle, couldn't win that game. And now you're telling me a schedule with Ohio State, Clemson, and USC isn't that difficult? I don't know what you're comparing it to that. That's 3 top 5 teams Notre Dame had this year and is going to have next year. That ain't easy treading. Now, that's not an excuse. That is not me saying that it's okay to lose games. No, I'm not saying that. But you also have to acknowledge all these schedules are not equal from which to judge how people did. I'm not kidding. Kelly's toughest game was Cincinnati at home, and he couldn't handle it. You cannot compare that to going to the Horseshoe and having an, at the time, undefeated top 4 Clemson and USC with the Heisman guy. Not even, they're in different worlds of challenge. 646, you're in the mix.
John, what's going on, my brother?
Merry Christmas, Bruce. Are you excited? You're going to be at the ball game, aren't you?
Super excited. Yes. I'm going to be in the press box. Super excited. This is the first time I'm actually going to get to cover Notre Dame. So this year, 2 bucket item list. I actually made it to South Bend, and now I will get to actually cover a Notre Dame game as media. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh, that's fantastic. First things first, Bruce, I hope you and the family had a good Christmas. I hope you all are safe and healthy, and I hope you had a good day yesterday.
Yeah, man. Family time is always good, John. I hope the same for you guys.
Appreciate that. So what's on your mind, Bruce? You're kind of going here for work now. You're not going into this bowl game as a fan sitting there, cheering. Does that change the way you're entering this ball game as a Notre Dame guy and a media guy? Like, what are you looking to see? And am I out of line for wanting to see some younger guys play that could be a part of the future? And I think you could thread the needle and still win the game while you're trying to do it. Am I out of line? Tell me where I'm wrong.
You're not out of line, John, but I'll say this, right? In terms of being a fan, but also being media, obviously, I can't be in the press box cheering. That's literally against the rules. But I will also say that I can do an outstanding job in terms of compartmentalizing that. You and I have talked a lot, offline, on our shows, etc. And I think as fans, we both do a really good job of being able to separate wanting to see the Irish win, wanting to see them have success, wanting to see the program develop, but also being able to step back, take off the fan hat, identify where are the deficiencies, where do they need to improve, what did they do well, etc. So I don't have any doubt that I'm going to be able to do that effectively. And so now what I'll say is, obviously there's concerns for me in terms of what Notre Dame is going to be able to accomplish in the pass game. No Michael Mayer. How they're going to be able to effectively rush the passer.
And it's like, Bruce, the lack of Michael Mayer as your main target is one thing. What about the other part is I haven't seen this quarterback throw passes in like 3 months.
That was the other thing I was going to get to. I'm not even sure who Notre Dame's quarterback, let me correct myself there, is going to be in this situation. So there's that. Now, and I've heard you talk about real quick. I'm really glad I'm getting the opportunity to get on here. Normally when the shows are on, I'm at work, so I can't get to call in. I'm like kind of listening on the low with an earbud in. But this is really cool. So thanks for that. But back to the game part. It's going to be very interesting because, and I'm sure you've discussed this, if you've got Tyler Buchner in the game and he's relatively healthy, that opens up a totally new way that Tommy Rees can call plays because of Buckner's mobility. And so you don't necessarily have to have a guy like Pine who, like you said, he's a try-hard. He gave it everything he had, and we respect that. We appreciate that. But he's a guy that limits what you can do offensively because of his ceiling. I think Buckner's got a bigger arm. Buckner is more mobile. He's more physically gifted. So that opens up some different things. So maybe you don't necessarily need to rely on one all-world guy like a Michael Mayer in the pass game as much as you would have needed to if Drew Pine was the guy.
Yeah, and the other thing is, Bruce, is you're losing some of that, with Mayer in the passing game and all that, but you're also gaining a dynamic run option now that isn't really on tape. I would love to see Rees get creative with some run plays and packages for Buchner, since that's what he's naturally best at, and the passing game is already challenging for a bunch of reasons. That seems logical to me. I'm going to be very disappointed if I don't see a concerted effort to let Buchner do some things with his legs. There is no fear. There's no other games for him to sprain an ankle for. You got all offseason to get healthy. I want to see them scheme up things that make us have the blocking advantage +1 by that guy running the ball.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It just hit me. I don't know if this is something you have brought up on this show or previous shows. Tobias Merriweather should be 100% healthy. I think he had concussion issues.
Go and get it, young man.
That was keeping him out.
Go and get it, young man.
Absolutely. We've seen this is a guy who can make plays. We've seen Deion Colsey stepping up, another young guy who can make plays, And so I think there are opportunities for some of the wide receiving core for the Irish to really make some plays in this game. Now, I'll also say, selfishly, Notre Dame is lining up against a team from the SEC here. I need them to win this game. I don't want to hear this until September.
I know. You're always,
Bruce.
You are the oddity, man, where you live in the country and all of your stuff,
Right.
and you're the Notre Dame guy. And it's you almost, when we talk, you tell me, John, it's kind of like how you talk to me about Michigan. That's how I feel about the whole SEC. And that really registers to me. Bruce, when a guy tells me that, it registers because you know how real that Michigan thing is for me.
Yeah, and you know what? I tell you what, you and some of the other, always Irish team members, you guys almost make me feel bad that I don't hate Michigan enough.
Hey, we got plenty of room on the boat. We got plenty of room on the boat, buddy. Let's go, baby. That ship never fills up. Let's freaking go, Bruce.
Realistically, I can't do it because looking at what Harbaugh has made Michigan into.
Do it for me. Do it for me. Do it for our friendship. Forget this logical football stuff. Just do it because it's the right thing to do. TCU. That's who I need to win the championship, Bruce. TCU, and we don't have to deal with any of this. TCU. What are they? The horny frogs? Is that what they are? I don't care what they are. Give me this.
As long as it's not Georgia, John, I don't care. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
Listen, we got a 75% chance of somebody else getting this thing done.
But really, Bruce, Bruce, I have no idea what Notre Dame's going to do in the bowl game. I have no idea. I don't know what to expect. I don't know whether they're going to sleepwalk like they did going into USC. I don't know whether they're going to all be energized behind their resurrected quarterback. I don't know. I do not know what to expect, and it's making me nervous.
So, you know what's one of the things I'm also looking at? I don't believe that Notre Dame is going to be able to be as excellent on special teams as they have been. And the reason why?
They're meeting their match.
Shane Beamer. That's right.
Yep.
Beamer knows special teams as well as anyone in the country.
Yep.
You know, I love our guy.
Yeah.
I'll take him against just about anybody. But if there's one thing Shane Beamer grew up knowing, that's special teams, and that's that Beamer ball.
Yep.
So I don't know that South Carolina is going to fall victim to any of Notre Dame's excellence in that phase of the game. Now, if Notre Dame can pull something off extra, that's great. But I don't know if I see that.
Yeah, and what a good, I love it, man. I was looking it up. Notre Dame and South Carolina are like in the top 5 in almost every single category of special teams. And a nerd like me, respects the hell out of it, man. Give me that special teams play. I love it. I love everything about it so much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so I'm just, in kind of mapping out how Notre Dame can have success here, I'm curious to know if they continue with the tried and true and the ground and pound, or do they, as much as you're going to hate to hear this, pull out a little bit of Michigan and, shock them, because they know we're going to expect to run the ball. And of course we are going to expect to do that being O-line you, but if you can go over the top like Michigan did in the Ohio State game, and pull out some of that, and then that even further comes second half when you've been punishing them with the short game, that starts opening up the bigger runs. I mean, that would probably be,
Bruce,
if you're Tommy Rees,
listen,
some of that.
Bruce, I know. Listen, I do the Michigan routine, and it is genuine. Like it is pure, genuine hatred. But I got to admit, when Michigan and Notre Dame have been playoff contenders recently, they look almost identical, do they not? Northern cold weather team, play your good defense. You're going to base everything on a power run game, and then you kind of get enough out of the passing game to win what you need to win. There is a lot of overlap on those two paths in the recruiting as well. Michigan hasn't been in the top 3 and all that either. There is a lot of overlap, and it hurts me, and I hate it, and I don't like it, and I don't like them. I'm just telling you, I don't like, I hate it. But I have to admit, practically on the field, they are built almost the same. When it's their turn to get into the playoff, it's based off that same blueprint, and we're going to see how far Michigan can take it this time.
Yeah, so before I get out of here, Just the other quick thing I wanted to touch on is that you were discussing recruiting earlier, and even though the different bodies are ranking our class between 5th and 9th, this year's 5th to me with Marcus Freeman, it just feels different from Brian Kelly's 5th.
Yep.
Like there's a higher ceiling on these guys in this 5th ranked class than there was last year. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe I like Marcus too much, but that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
Obviously you need
the blue chip rate doesn't lie.
Really take it over the top.
Bruce, the blue chip rate doesn't lie as far as percentage of 4- and 5-star guys in a recruiting class. Like you're looking at low to mid 80s from now on. Kelly had some of them in the 40s. Half, almost half of what this is. So I'm bitterly frustrated with what happened at the very top end of the class, like everybody is. But overall, the talent is rising and the depth is rising. And then that breeds more competition for playing time. Like that's the tide that rises all ships. Those gems on the top are the ones that get you immediate results. And I need some of them. I want some of them.
Yeah, I agree. Real quick, I just think that that's the difference when you look at when Clemson was winning championships with the Alabamas, with the Georgias. Notre Dame's first 22, even in those games, for the most part, could match up.
Yeah.
But when when Alabama and Georgia and Clemson can keep shuttling in 4 and 5 stars, and Notre Dame now has 3 stars coming in off the bench, well, that's where you see the difference. You mentioned depth. So that's going to be the key, is being able to
and then that's
that can come
exactly. And then that's where you see midway through the fourth quarter who's fresh and who's run out of gas. Like all of that stuff adds up. So if you had to guess, what do you expect to see from Notre Dame? They're going to be run heavy, and that should be the plan, is to be run heavy. I'm also interested in the defense because I wasn't impressed with them last time I saw them. Notre Dame second to last in the country in allowing TDs when teams get in the red zone. I hate that. That is Al Rusty, not Al Golden, and I don't approve. So any thought of what we might see?
So this is interesting. Here comes the Michigan comparison again. It keeps happening. But this year, going into this season, I said, okay, Ajabo's gone, and this is me putting on kind of my national college football hat versus just the Notre Dame. But you see Ajabo's gone, you see Aiden Hutchinson's gone. Everybody thinks Michigan's defense is going to take a huge step back. Turns out they were actually better this year, right? You don't have 1 or 2 single game records, but you have everybody stepping up. And that's kind of what I think we may see more of in this game. Because now, if you're South Carolina, you're saying, well, where's the pressure coming from? We can't just plan to block Isaiah Foskey, right? So if you're Al Golden, knowing Foskey's not playing, you kind of have a little more room to scheme up some different things and maybe pull some surprises on the defensive end with the pass rush and with, your stunts and your blitzes, depending on, I know Al Golden's not a blitz heavy guy, but on the whole, you can pull out some surprises and scheme up some different things than South Carolina's been prepared for, because the main guy that they would be concerned about blocking isn't there. So I think we may see a better defensive effort than we think. Also, I'm kind of gathering that by now teams are starting to throw away from Benjamin Morrison, so it's going to be interesting to see on the opposite side how that goes. I can't remember the name of the opposite corner. I'd have to look it up. But seeing what type of maybe safety help they can get, because that they're going to attack the opposite corner, since Benjamin Morrison, true freshman All-America, has turned into an absolute dog. So it's going to be really neat, and Al Golden's going to have to do a great job scheming things up, but he's got some freedom now because they're not planning on just taking away one guy.
Yep. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's weird. I look at it as the start of next year, not the end of this year. It's just kind of weird. Bruce, anything else we got to cover? What'd I miss? Anything else on your mind?
Just wanted to give you guys a shout, and it's great talking to you as always, John.
I appreciate you. Oh, by the way, tell your son and wife I said hello, and I hope they had a Merry Christmas. I hope I hope Santa delivered the goods for your son. I know he's been good. I hope he delivered. Come on now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Beautiful,
Yes,
Bruce.
sir.
Hey,
I
listen,
appreciate that.
really enjoy the opportunity to work and enjoy something you love doing it this weekend. Have fun at the game, my friend.
Will do, man. You guys take it easy. Go Irish.
Have a good one. Bruce representing us in the media. All right. You want me to, let's see here. Oh my God, I swear. The longer I do this, it's a magnet. It's wild how I went from the glass half empty, realist, negative guy in the media for Notre Dame. That was my role in this niche for years. I ain't new here. We're going on 7-8 years. This ain't a new operation. I went from the glass half empty negative guy. Nothing Kelly does is good enough. You expect too much. I went from that guy, and now I'm the guy where I'm a Freeman homer and everything's okay. I can't win. The last guy I was too hard on. This guy I'm not hard enough on. I can't win. Always Irish all over the board, I guess. Here we go. 6-6. John will be supporting Freeman. Good God. I don't know where you pulled that from. You just made that up. Rock, knee, which is creative, by the way. I do like that. You made that up. That was never said. If you follow the show, you'll know what I say. Every second we get further away from Swamp Thing eating his gumbo for Christmas, every second we go from that to Freeman. There's more pressure on Freeman every minute. Every minute that dynamic turns, more pressure goes on Freeman. Every minute. Every day the calendar turns and it's another day further from Kelly, it's more pressure on Freeman. Okay? Next year, 6-6, you're out of your mind. Nothing is acceptable for Freeman from now on. 10, 11, 12 wins. That's it. That's it. He had his one transition year and everything I will grant him some flexibility on that. It's over. 10, 11, 12 wins are what we're dealing with here from now on. It has to be. So don't put words in my mouth. 6-6, John will be supporting Freeman. Good God. You made that up. You made that up. You made that up. Every minute we get further from Kelly, there's more pressure on Freeman to deliver. 10, 11, 12 wins are the only acceptable outcomes from now on to Kelly. Okay, rock/knee, that's my position. We're out of this transitional year and all that. I need 10 or more every single year from now on. Without fail. Kent Jackson, Merry Christmas. It's good to see you, Kent. Hope you had a good Christmas. I'm sure you and your guys are all worked up about the CFP and all that. Hope you had a very Merry Christmas and having a good New Year, my friend. Trucker Joe, I heard Freeman wanted Cutcliffe as an analyst. So did I. Heard the exact same thing. Somebody was talking about me and something about the way I looked or that I was all worked up today. And somebody wrote, it's from all the Italian beef sandwiches. The irony in that is, as soon as this show ends, I'm going to eat some Italian beef sandwiches from Portillo's right when I leave here. That's what we're having for lunch. And I can't wait. Can't wait. What else did I have here? Geez, look at this. Josh Miller. Listening to you at home and my dog absolutely hates your voice or tone. Yeah, your wife probably does as well, as most of the wives do, including my own. Okay, folks? There's a reason I put soundproofing in this room and did all this. It's to just kind of insulate me so I could do my little thing in the corner of the house in the basement and not disrupt the neighborhood. All right, folks, I hate to do this, but I got to go. I was supposed to be done at 10:30 so I could get where I need to go. There are calls I didn't get to. I'm sorry, but I'm going to be back later in the week. We're going to do a build up to this bowl game. I'm sorry. I was supposed to be out of here by 10:30. Got to get ready for some things. But I wanted to get going today, talk to some of the people, and I don't know. I think this went well. I had a lot of energy. You guys brought a lot of energy, and it's going to be an exciting week. We got a Notre Dame football game to talk about. So let's get excited about it until I start getting mad about it, right? So everybody enjoy the day. We'll have a video tomorrow, and then we're most definitely going to be back Wednesday breaking down this game and getting really ramped up. So thanks, everybody, for being here. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And we'll see you tomorrow. Stay tuned for a video. Not sure what it's going to be yet, but I'll have something for you in the morning. Thanks, everybody. People like the energy today. I don't know what got into me. Maybe it's you guys, but I appreciate it. Have a good one.